A warm welcome back again to the History Show here on Uxbridge FM. And Ken Pearce joins us once again for another history story. This one is about two connections with royal family.
Hello, everybody. In 1925, Princess Victoria, sister of King George V, bought a house in Iver called Coppins. She lived there for the rest of her life, died in 1935, and left the property to her nephew George, the Duke of Kent. Now, just a year before that, the Duke had married Princess Marina of Greece. So the Iver property became the place where their children spent their early years. And those children were Edward, the present Duke of Kent, Princess Alexandra, and Prince Michael. The Duke was killed in an air crash in Scotland in 1942, but the Duchess and her three children remained in Iver. From time to time, they were seen shopping in Uxbridge. The Duchess also continued with her public engagements, both at home and abroad. And some of the local visits are well remembered today. In 1955, she opened the new Cowley Primary School in Worcester Road. In 1960, she opened the maternity building at Hillingdon Hospital, which is named after her, the Duchess of Kent Maternity Wing. And then in 1965, she came to Uxbridge with her daughter Alexandra and represented the Queen at a ceremony in the Regal Cinema at which Uxbridge was granted borough status. Previously, it had been just an urban district. The Duchess died in 1968, after which the Iver property was sold. But before I finish this section of the story, I must relate something told me by Lord Randall, or still John Randall to many of us. On one occasion, the Kents ordered an item from Randall's stores in Vine Street and asked that it should be delivered. The firm's van driver was told, "This has to go to the Duke of Kent in Iver." And the man replied, "I don't know that pub, where is it?" My second royal connection now follows. In 1909, a young man named Charles Goldsmith, aged 22, was living with his family here in Villiers Street, Uxbridge. His father was a builder's labourer, while Charles himself was a carter. Not far away, a young girl called Edith Chandler, aged 21, was living with her family in Chiltern View Road. Her father, Theophilus Chandler, was a plasterer. Charles Goldsmith and Edith Chandler had been courting for some time. But in March 1909, they were married at Uxbridge Register Office. There may have been some urgency to the marriage, since their oldest child was born later that year. The young couple settled in a small house in Clarence Street, Southall, a very poor district of the town near the gasworks. In the years that followed, 5 more children were born to Charles and Edith, but life was a constant struggle, especially after Charles came back from the 1914-18 war with emphysema and was unable to undertake any strong manual work. Their last child to arrive was Ronald in 1931, but he was only 6 when his father died. And so Edith was left now with her 2 youngest children, but she couldn't afford the rent of the Clarence Street house. So she was forced to move to a condemned flat in Dudley Road and went to work in a factory to earn a living. Conditions in the flat were decidedly primitive. When World War II ended, Ronald Goldsmith had left school and he went on to do national service in the army. And then when he came out, he worked as a lorry driver for a haulage firm. In 1950, he met a girl called Dorothy Harrison, a sales assistant in the local Dorothy Perkins store. They married in 1950 and, having nowhere to live, moved in with Edith in the awful flat. Dorothy's grandfather, incidentally, had been a miner in the Durham coalfields. But it seems that Dorothy had ambition and drive and encouraged her husband, Ron, to set up his own haulage business and later to actually start a building firm. And after one or two moves, Ron and Dorothy settled in a pleasant house in Norwood Green and had 2 children, Carol and Gary. By 1976, Carol was working at Heathrow Airport as an air stewardess. And it was there that she met a flight dispatcher called Michael Middleton. They married in 1980, and the eldest of their children, Catherine Elizabeth, was born in 1982. At St Andrews University, Catherine met Prince William, and the rest you know. Here in Uxbridge, the house where Charles Goldsmith lived was demolished in 1976 for a new housing development, and the house where Edith Chandler lived was destroyed by a German bomb. Nevertheless, in this amazing rags to riches story, we can claim beyond doubt that the great-grandparents of the Duchess of Cambridge lived and married in Uxbridge.
Another fascinating story, Ken. Thank you very much.